Hi, I'm Rashonda Cade. This is Reading with Rashonda. We are reading The Escape by William Wells Brown. We finished Act 1 last time, so now we are on Act 2. So we'll get cracking. Act 2, Scene 1, Parlor. Dr. Gaines at a table, letters and papers before him. Enter Sampy. Sampy, dar's a gentleman at the door, massa, that wants to see you, sir. Dr. Gaines, ask him to walk in, Sampy. Exit Sampy, enter Walker. Walker, why, how do you do, Dr. Gaines? I am glad to see you, I'll swear. Dr. G, how do you do, Mr. Walker? I did not expect to see you up here so soon. What has hurried you? Walker, well, you see, doctor, I comes when I am not expected. The price of niggers is up, and I'm going to take advantage of the times. Now, doctor, if you've got any niggers that you wants to sell, I am your man. I am paying the highest price of anybody in the market. I pay cash down and no grumbling. Dr. G, I don't know that I want to sell any of my people now. Still, I've got to make up a little money next month to pay in bank. And another thing, the doctors say that we are likely to have a touch of the cholera this summer. And if that's the case, I suppose I had better turn as many of my slaves into cash as I can. Walker, yes, doctor, that is very true. Excuse me. The cholera is death on slaves, and $1,000 in your pocket is a great deal better than a nigger in the field with cholera at his heels. Why, who is that coming up the lane? It's Mr. Wildmarsh, as I live, just the very man I wants to see. Enter Mr. Wildmarsh. Walker is still talking. Why, how do you do, Squire? I was just a thinking about you. Wildmarsh. How are you, Mr. Walker? And how are you, Doctor? I am glad to see you both looking so well. You seem in remarkably good health, Doctor. Why is he surprised to see a doctor in good health? And while I am paused, um, why are they like, yeah, I thought the doctor was going to be like, cholera is coming. Great. I'll get more money because he was asking earlier in the play for more sickness to be afoot, but cholera is its own beast. All right, let's keep reading. Dr. G, yes, Squire, I was never in the enjoyment of better health. I hope you left all well at Licking. Wildmarsh, yes, I thank you. And now, Mr. Walker, how goes time with you? Walker, well, you see, Squire, I am in good spirits. The price of niggers is up in the market, and I am looking out for bargains. And I was just intending to come over to Licking to see you to see if you had any niggers to sell. But it seems as if the Lord knowed that I wanted to see you and directed your steps over here. Now, Squire, if you've got any niggers you wants to sell, I am your man. I am paying the highest cash price of anybody in the market. Now's your time, Squire. Wildmarsh. No, I don't think I want to sell any of my slaves now. I sold a very valuable gal to Mr. Haskins last week. I tell you, she was a smart one. I got $1,800 for her. Walker. Why, Squire, how do you talk? $1,800 for one gal? She must have been a screamer to bring that price. What sort of looking critter was she? I should like to have bought her. Wildmarsh. She was a little of the smartest gal I've ever she was a little of the smartest gal I've ever raised. Like I read it like 3 times, thought I was thinking I was reading it wrong, but she was a little of the smartest gal I've ever raised. That she was. Walker. Then she was your own raising, was she? Wildmarsh. Oh, yes. She was raised on my place, and if I could have kept her 3 or 4 years longer and taken her to the market myself, I am sure I could have sold her for $3,000. But you see, Mr. Walker, my wife got a little jealous, and you know, jealousy sets the women's heads a teetering, and so I had to sell the gal. She's got straight hair, blue eyes, prominent features, and is almost white. Haskins will make a speck and no mistake. Y'all, we're going to pause here for just a moment. So we already have, oh, now I forget her name, but the enslaved woman who uh, Dr. Gaines has eyes for and whose wife is jealous. Melinda, that's her name. And now we've got another enslaved woman who is unnamed. And really, only we know her by her features and how much she could be sold for. She was sold for $1,800. Had she been a little bit older, because my gosh, how old was she? Was she? I'm afraid to know. So, had she been a little bit older, she could have been sold for $3,000. And she is described as having straight hair, blue eyes, prominent features, and is almost white. So, I started these readings saying, I think that The Escape can be read as another version of Clotel. If you haven't read Clotel, the first one, I do have recordings of it, but just go on ahead and read it. It is very interesting and kind of a wild ride. I do like books that are wild rides. I like to go from high to low when I'm reading. But at any rate, Clotel was described as beautiful and nearly white with long straight hair and creamy skin. Um, anyway, one of the many things that make me think that The Escape is another version of Clotel. I've been writing about that, so you will see some of that eventually in my Substack. And I am going to stop talking right now and I'm going to keep reading. Okay. Um, so Wildmarsh just described the enslaved woman who was sold, and Walker says, "Why, Squire, was she that pretty little gal that I saw on your knee the day that your wife was gone when I was at your place 3 years ago?" Y'all, unless the child is like a child, like, elementary, kindergarten, preschool, whatever, um, nobody should be sitting on some man's knee when his wife isn't home. Oh my gosh, was she that pretty little gal that I saw on your knee that day your wife was gone when I was at your place 3 years ago? Oh, so now we know why his wife was jealous, because he most likely was having relations with the enslaved woman. And as the woman was enslaved, she did not have the ability to give her consent for whatever the nature of the relationship was. We gonna keep on reading. Wildmarsh says, "Yes, the same." Walker, "Well, now, Squire, I thought that was your daughter. She looked mightily like you. She was your daughter, wasn't she? You need not be ashamed to own it to me, for I am mum upon such matters." Wildmarsh, Mr. Walker, that people will talk, and when they talk, they say a great deal. And people did talk. And many said the gal was my daughter, and we can't help people's talking. But here comes Reverend Mr. Pinchen. I didn't know that he was in the neighborhood. Walker, it is Mr. Pinchen, as I live, just the very man I wants to see. Okay, so I was all on my head about an illicit sexual relationship. Because why? Because it happened a lot and it was prominent. Perhaps this woman was his daughter. So perhaps she was a young girl and she was sitting on her dad's knee. Um, both things could be true, as horrific as that is. The woman could be his daughter and they could be having sexual relations. Um, Slavery was wild and human rights were abused left and right as a matter of course. But right now, I'm going to take a step back. Perhaps I've read too many things. And like I've read this before and I didn't actually pick that up when I read it before. So I was like super excited about picking that up this time. But perhaps I picked it up wrong. Maybe I picked it up wrong. So, but we are going to be at Walker has a daughter who looks like she is white, who he sold, who he sold his own daughter, his own flesh and blood, that if his illicit relationship was not with her, it was clearly with her mother. Oh, all right. Mr. Pynchon walks in. Whoo, mercy. Mr. Pynchon walks in, but Walker is still talking. Because every person who walks in is just the person Walker wanted to see. So Walker says, "Why, how do you do, Mr. Pynchon? What in the name of Yahoo brings you down here to Muddy Creek? Any camp meetings, revival meetings, deathbed scenes, or anything else in your line going on down here? How is religion prospering now, Mr. Pynchon? I always like to hear about religion. I'm intrigued that people always like to hear about religion, and it was funny to me that he talked about, is there a deathbed scene? Because 19th century literature, sentimental literature in particular, man, full of deathbed scenes. All right, so Mr. Pynchon. Well, Mr. Walker, the Lord's work is in good condition everywhere now. I tell you, Mr. Walker, I've been in the gospel ministry these 13 years, and I am satisfied that the heart of man is full of sin and desperately wicked. This is a wicked world, Mr. Walker, a wicked world, and we ought all of us to have religion. Religion is a good thing to live by, and we all want it when we die. Yes, sir, when the great trumpet blows, we ought to be ready. And a man in your business of buying and selling slaves needs religion more than anybody else, for it makes you treat your people as you should. Now, there is Mr. Haskins. He is a slave trader like yourself. Well, I converted him. Before he got religion, he was one of the worst men to his niggers I ever saw. His heart was as hard as stone, but religion made his heart as soft as a piece of cotton. Before I converted him, he would sell husbands from their wives and seemed to take delight in it. But now he won't sell a man from his wife, and if he can get anyone to buy both of them together, I tell you, sir, religion has done a wonderful work for him. Like you on scene in Act One, you didn't get a whole lot of my commentary, but I guess this is where we are today, because the Reverend is like, this is a desperately wicked world and people need religion. Why do people need religion? So slave traders will only separate families when necessary, if a buyer won't buy the families together. Oh, is that what Jesus really wanted? Is that why he died on the cross and got back up from the dead? So slave traders could give lip service to keeping families together, not so we wouldn't have slave traders, not so people wouldn't be enslaved. The things we have done in the name of religion. All right, so now Walker. I know, Mr. Pynchon, that I ought to have religion, and I feel that I am a great sinner. And whenever I get with good, pious people like you and the doctor and Mr. Wildmarsh, it always makes me feel that I am a desperate sinner. I feel it the more because I've got a religious turn of mind. I know that I would be happier with religion, and the first spare time I get, I'm going to try to get it. I'll go to a protracted meeting and I won't stop till I get religion. Yes, I'll scuffle with the Lord till I gets forgiven. But it always makes me feel bad to talk about religion, so I'll change the subject. Now, doctor, what about them there niggers you thought you could sell me? Doctor, like I tried to read, but that was hilarious. All the hypocrisy after being like, oh, I love religion. Tell me about religion. Yeah, I don't like religion. I'm going to change the subject. What about selling these people? The hypocrisy. All right, Dr. Gaines. I'll see my wife, Mr. Walker, and if she is willing to part with Hannah, I'll sell you Sam and his wife, Hannah. Ah, here comes my wife. I'll mention it. Enter Mrs. Gaines. And Dr. Gaines is still talking. Ah, my dear, I'm glad you've come. I was just telling Mr. Walker that if you were willing to part with Hannah, I'd sell him Sam and Hannah. Mrs. G. Now, Dr. Gaines, I am astonished and surprised that you should think of such a thing. You know what trouble I've had in training up Hannah for a house servant, and now that I've got her so that she knows my ways, you want to sell her? Haven't you niggers enough on the plantation to sell without selling the servants from under my nose? Dr. G. Oh, yes, yes, my dear, but I can spare Sam and don't like to separate him from his wife. And I thought if you could let Hannah go, I'd sell them both. I don't like to separate husbands from their wives. Mrs. G. Now, gentlemen, that's just the way with my husband. He thinks more about the welfare and comfort of his slaves than he does of himself or his family. I am sure you need not feel so bad at the thought of separating Sam from Hannah. They've only been married 8 months, and their attachment can't be very strong in that short time. Indeed, I shall be glad if you do sell Sam, for then I'll make Hannah jump the broomstick with Cato, and I'll have them both here under my eye. I never will again let one of my house servants marry a field hand. Never. For when night comes on, the servants are off to the quarters, and I have to holler and holler enough to split my throat before I can make them hear. And another thing, I want you to sell Melinda. I don't intend to keep that mulatto wench about this house any longer. Poor Mrs. Gaines. Being a slave owner is such a tribulation for her when her house slaves marry the field slaves and she has to holler for them to come and do her bidding. Mm, mm, mm. Poor thing. And those silly slaves, they've only been married 8 months. How attached could they be? Mm. And then she snuck that in. Gone to sell Melinda. I don't like Melinda no way. Dr. Gaines, my dear, I'll sell any servant from the place to suit you, except Melinda. I can't think of selling her. I can't think of it. Mrs. G, I tell you that Melinda shall leave this house or I'll go. There, now you have it. I've had my life tormented out of me by the presence of that yellow wench, and I'll stand it no longer. I know you love her more than you do me, and I'll, I'll write, I'll write to my father. Weeps. Exit Mrs. Gain. Walker. Why, doctor, your wife's a screamer, ain't she? Why, doctor, she's got a tongue of her own, ain't she? Why, doctor, it was only last week that I thought of getting myself a wife, but your wife has scared the idea out of my head. Now, doctor, if you wants to sell the gal, I'll buy her. Husband and wife ought to be on good terms, and your wife won't feel well till that gal is gone. Now, I'll pay you all she's worth if you wants to sell. Dr. G. No, Mr. Walker, the girl my wife spoke of is not for sale. My wife does not mean what she says. She's only a little jealous. I'll get Brother Pension to talk to her and get her mind turned upon religious matters, and then she'll forget it. She's only a little jealous. So, okay, I was poking fun at Mrs. Gaines and at how hard her life is, except as a woman, I do feel for her, right? She's married to this man who is in love with one of their enslaved people. And she's like, I can't stand her. I want you to get rid of her. And he's like, no, ma'am, I'm keeping her. Basically, he's like, I'm a keeper so I can rape her. And that's just going to be the beginning and end of it. And as you are a woman and my wife, you have no rights outside of what I say you can and cannot do. Ha ha. So there. So like I was poking fun at Mrs. Gaines, and I do mean that, but like being a woman, even a white woman in the 19th century, was to be subjugated. All right. Walker. I tell you what, doctor, if you call that a little jealous, I'd like to know what's a heap. I tell you, it will take something more than religion to set your wife right. You had better sell me the gal. I'll pay you cash down and no grumbling. Dr. G, the girl is not for sale, Mr. Walker. But if you want two good, able bodied servants, I'll sell you Sam and Big Sally. Sam is trustworthy, and Sally is worth her weight in gold for rough usage. Rough usage? My mind went a lot of places, but honestly, in this instance, that's probably just like good old fashioned hard work. Walker, well, doctor, I'll go out and take a look at them, for I never buy slaves without examining them well, because they are sometimes injured by overwork or underfeeding. I don't say that is the case with yours, for I don't believe it is, but as I sell on honor, I must buy on honor. Dr. G, walk out, sir, and you can examine them to your heart's content. Walk right out, sir. Is that not the nicest way to have kicked somebody out of your house? Walk out and go examine my enslaved people, but get on out. And that ends scene one. I really thought we were going to read scenes one and two, but I had, because scene two is short. You know what? We're going to read scene two also, because it is short. All right, scene two. View in front of the great house. Examination of Sam and Big Sally. Dr. Gaines, Wild Marsh, Mr. Pynchon, and Walker present. Walker. Well, my boy, what's your name? Sam. Sam, sir, is my name. Walker. How old are you, Sam? Sam. If I live to see next corn planting time, I'll be 27 or 30 or 35 or 40. I don't know which, sir. Walker. Well, doctor, this is a rather green boy. Well, my fellow, are you sound? Sam. Yes, sir, I spec I is. Walker. Open your mouth and let me see your teeth. I allers judge a nigger's age by his teeth, same as I does a hoss. Ah, pretty good set of grinders. Have you got a good appetite? Sam. Yes, sir. Walker. Can you eat your allowance? Sam. Yes, sir, when I can get it. Walker. Get out on the floor and dance. I want to see if you are supple. Sam. I don't like to dance. I has got religion. Walker. Oh, you've got religion, have you? That's so much the better. I likes to deal in the gospel. I think he'll suit me. Now, Miguel, what's your name? Sally. I is Big Sally, sir. Walker. How old are you, Sally? Sally. I don't know, sir, but I heard once that I was born at sweet potato digging time. Walker. Don't know how old you are. Do you know who made you? Sally. I have heard who it was in the Bible that made me, but I done forget the gentleman's name. Walker. Well, doctor, this is the greenest lot of niggers I've seen for some time. Well, what do you ask for them? Dr. Gaines, you may have Sam for $1,000 and Sally for $900. They are worth all I ask for them. You know I never banter, Mr. Walker. There they are. You can take them at that price or you can let them alone, just as you please. Walker, well, doctor, I reckon I'll take them, but it's all they are worth. I'll put the handcuffs on them and then I'll pay you. I likes to go according to Scripter. Scripter says if eating meat will offend your brother, you must quit it. And I say if leaving your slaves without the handcuffs will make them run away, you must put the handcuffs on them. Now, Sam, don't you and Sally cry. I am of a tender heart, and it always makes me feel bad to see people crying. Sir, nobody cares if it makes you feel bad. Don't cry. And the first place I get to, I'll buy each of you a great big ginger cake. That I will. Because buying them a ginger cake is really going to be helpful. Now, Mr. Pynchon, I wish you were going down the river. I'd like to have your company, for I always likes the company of preachers. Sir, you just said previously that being around preachers and religious folks makes you uncomfortable. And you also said that right after you said, I love talking about religion. Walker, get it together. You're all over the place. Mr. Pynchon, well, Mr. Walker, I would be much pleased to go down the river with you, but it's too early for me. I expect to go to Natchez in 4 or 5 weeks to attend a camp meeting, and if you were going down then, I'd like it. What kind of nigger sells best in the Orleans market, Mr. Walker? Walker. Why, field hands. Did you think of going in the trade? Mr. P. Oh, no. Only it's a long ways down to Natchez, and I thought I'd buy 5 or 6 niggers and take 'em down and sell 'em to pay my traveling expenses. I only want to clear my way. And that is the end of scene 2. If you are unfamiliar with being sold down the river, that is the worst direction in which to be sold because slavery typically got harsher the further south you went. So if you got sold down the river, the Mississippi River, you were going to harsher conditions, maybe all the way down to the New Orleans market. And so the preacher, Mr. Pynchon, was like, oh, I don't want to get into the slave trade, except for I need some money for my trip. And I figure I could take some slaves and sell them and then just be able to pay my way. That's all I want. Ill-gotten gains. Like, is it laudable to want to pay your own way? Yes. To want to pay your own way through the bodies of other people, though, that's deplorable. And so we have read Act 2, scenes 1 and 2 of The Escape by William Wells Brown. I'm Rashonda Cade, and this is Reading with Rashonda. Until next time.